Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I want to talk today about behavioral economics and explain what it is and why it exists. Behavioral economics is a relatively new branch of economics, and it comes from the realm of psychology rather than from economics. And for the last 20 years or so, it has become more and more mainstream in terms of its thinking. It challenges traditional economics. It challenges the assumption of traditional economics that decision makers are rational human beings. So what do we mean by a rational human being? Well, a rational human being is an individual that assesses all costs and benefits of an action and then takes the action which maximizes their personal utility and their benefit. And behavioral economics challenges that. It challenges that because it says, well, hang on, to be a rational human being, you need to have perfect information. Doesn't exist. You need to be able to make decisions independent of everybody else. Not so. We consider other people when we make our decisions. It assumes that your tastes and preferences never change. Of course they change. They change on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And therefore, the traditional decision maker doesn't exist. Therefore, we need some alternative way of trying to explain why certain economic decisions are made the way they're made. So that's what behavioral economics does. And behavioral economics takes to task the assumptions underlying traditional economics. And it says that effectively we don't maximize our benefits because we're not capable of doing that. And there are a number of theories that have become mainstream in trying to explain why people behave the way they do. Of course, it's a very useful thing to know because then you can influence the way people behave the way they do. So advertising agencies use lots and lots of behavioral economic theory in terms of the way they campaign and market certain products. And more interestingly, the government has a nudge unit of its own within its machinery to advise it on how to formulate policy to get people to behave the way they do. Because if they can get people to behave the way they do without having to pass legislation, well, then that's cheaper, that's quicker, that's easier, and it's less authoritarian. So nudge theory, very, very mainstream and very, very widely used. Other theories like bounded self-control, bounded rationality, availability bias, you need to be aware of because they all try to explain how individuals make decisions. So that's what behavioral economics is, and that's by way of introduction to it, really. So bear that in mind. Key prophets, if you like, of behavioral economics that you will come across include Daniel Kahneman and Richard Thaler, who have both won Nobel Economics Prizes for their work in this area. In fact, Daniel Kahneman won it even before he was an economist. He was a psychologist. So they're quite big names in this game. Richard Thaler in particular is the guru behind nudge theory, and we'll talk about that in a later video. So be aware of that. There'll be Daniel Ariely, also an interesting person to listen to in this subject area. So you can YouTube some of their talks. Daniel Ariely has written one or two books, nice, very easily readable books. So I suggest that you might, if you're interested in this area, check those out. Okay, so that's it by way of introduction. Keep your eyes out for future videos on specific behavioral economic theories. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye now.